up, my channel? It's your friendly neighborhood sassy blonde writer coming at you with some more writing advice. Today we are going to talk about how to write a poetry cover letter, and I guess you could also apply this to short stories and personal essays as well for publication, for submission to magazines and journals. Let's get started. I said in my video about creating a book of poetry that I was going to just make a separate video on creating a poetry submission cover letter. It can also be used for short stories and personal essays that you want to submit to magazines as well. So first things first, you're definitely going to want to make a submittable account. The submittable account is free. It's generally what most magazines use. The New Yorker uses it, the Poetry Journal uses it, a lot of journals use it. It's kind of, think of it like LinkedIn, but for freelancey kind of stuff, I guess. So after you make your submittable account, remember it's free. Free things are nice. And you find some contests or calls for entries from different magazines that you want to submit to. Then you're going to, of course, you're going to want to assemble your different works, and there's a specific way you want to format it. I'm going to link to my template for not only my cover letter, but also for formatting my different works for submittable down below, so that way you can take a look at it, because it's better, it's a lot easier to show you than explain to you how it's supposed to look. So right now we're going to talk about the cover letter. It's not like a cover letter for a job necessarily, it's more like your resume, if that makes any sense. So there's no bio necessary, and honestly, think about it for a second. These editors, the people who are going through these submissions, are probably going through hundreds, if not thousands of submissions. They don't need to hear about your life story, and frankly, no offense, they probably don't really care what your life story is. They just want to get to the work and figure out if it works or not. So what you want to do is you want to just say, please consider, insert word count here, piece of, type of short work, insert title, and then comma, title of your work here. I recently participated in blah blah blah, and I'm an avid reader of fiction and poetry that you publish. In your next paragraph, you're gonna restate the title of your work. You're going to explain what it is. Is it a flash fiction piece? Is it a short story? Is it a poem? How long a poem is it? Is it written in a particular rhyme scheme? And just give them the Netflix synopsis version of it. 2 sentences max explaining what it is to kind of pique their interest. Your elevator pitch is also another way to think about it. Then you want to say, only if you're submitting the same works to different places, you want to say at the bottom, this is a simultaneous submission and I will notify you if the piece is accepted elsewhere. Thank you for your consideration. Kindest regards. And then you're going to say your name. It's very short, sweet, and to the points, and it's got your elevator pitch of what your work is. Now you want to have your little elevator pitch or Netflix synopsis in mind while you're formatting your thing, because you want to be able to pique their interest with reading it, but you don't necessarily want to give it all away. Now we're going to go into formatting. Now this is specifically formatting your pieces for publication. It's very similar for formatting your resume, because you want to make sure you include your contact info. You're going to place your name and contact info in the upper left corner of your poem manuscript or your short story manuscripts, just the same as you would for a prose manuscript. In the upper right corner, you can always list, it's optional though, to list the number of lines in your poem. Then you're going to skip a few lines after your contact information. You're going to center the title of your poem, skip a few more lines, and begin the text of your poem. When you're submitting a package of 3 to 5 poems, which is usually what you end up doing, each individual poem should follow the standard format. I'm going to basically repeat this process for each poem. You're going to, each poem, the page it starts on, you're going to redo all of that. You're going to have your contact information on the left side, and on the right side you're going to have the number of lines in that poem. You also want to make sure, if you created your poem to look like it, to have a certain visual pattern to it, you want to make sure it's formatted to look like that. The page numbering should start over for each multi-page poem in your package. For example, if the third poem in your package has 2 pages, then its second page should be numbered 2. make the poems single-spaced, not centered. So you want to have the title of your poem centered. You don't want to have the rest of your poem centered. I think that's just because that's generally what people do, and it's kind of cheesy. People just do that automatically with poems. And give each poem its own page and its own title. So you don't want it to run all together, because otherwise people are probably going to think it's just one endless poem. Most editors are not fans of one-word titles from what I've heard, so keep that in mind. And like I was saying before, make sure you follow directions. Not a lot of people get it. Half the time, the devil is in the directions, not the details. The devil is in the directions. Read the directions, follow them. You will automatically get points just for doing that. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this brief little video on how to format poems for submission and write a poetry cover letter. If you want further advice, I suggest looking at my website where I have different templates. I believe they're editable, and if they're not, please let me know. That's not very helpful. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos 1 to 2 times a week. And of course, happy writing!